Hey guys, Stevo here for Movies and TVs on the Vault, and with me is,
Jay.
and it's Halloween time, the spookiest time of the year. And since that, we are going to be talking about, and since this year is 2025, we're going to take a step back 30 years to 1995 and discuss the ghost with the most, none other than Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. We are talking about the 1995 film Casper, um, directed from Universal Pictures. This film is sort of like it's been kind of a class, isn't now kind of a classic kids Halloween movie that I'd probably would show at um kind of a sleepover. If I was 10, I'd show this at a sleepover,
Yeah.
you know. This film is directed by I
It was Brad something, I think.
think it's Brad Silberg, not Spielberg, but Silberg, who has directed films such as who this was his first film. He directed another film involving the dead in City of Angels. He's also done he did the 2009 film Land of the Lost, and he did the 2004 Jim Carrey film Lemony Snicket, a series of unfortunate events. Then you had um this is based on a actually I didn't know this was actually based on a comic book.
I didn't know that either.
That's based on the Casper Friendly Ghost, and I think I do remember there was a theory going around that Richie Rich is the cartoon, the animated
Uh,
cartoon Richie Rich is Casper.
I
Like
could see that
there's
maybe because he
kind of
lives in the mansion and
yeah,
they're super rich. Yeah.
and he died under mysterious circumstances. But this was also written by Sherry Stoner, who wrote she did voices for Pinky and the Brain. She voiced Slappy Squirrel. She did a lot of work with Animaniacs, and so she's written this film. And this is my first introduction to Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman.
Okay.
Christina Ricci, and then I saw Adam's Family a little bit later. She played Wednesday,
Okay. Very
and
good.
um, Bill Pullman played um, was Lone Star in
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, and of course President
President.
Whitmore in Independence Day, where he made that amazing speech. And then you had Brad Garrett as Fatso, who was in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
He was also in uh, he was also in teenage. He did the voice of Krang in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows.
Gotcha.
Um, but he's done a lot of voice work, and I think this is his first voice work I remember from. Then you had uh, the villain of the film. You had Kathy Moriarty, who just her like last name sounds like a Sherlock film.
It is. That's his main villain.
Yeah, and she plays Catherine Cragen Cartiga. She showed back up in the third there. So Casper sprang about um two direct to video sequels.
Okay.
Casper Spirits Beginning, which was kind of a prequel, and Casper Meets Wendy with the young Hilary Duff. And she played the witch in Casper Meets Wendy. Casper Meets Wendy. And she's also been in films such as Kindergarten Cop and episodes of Law and Order SVU. Um, and then you had Eric Idle, who a lot of people know from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He plays Dibs, kind of Kerrigan's attorney. Um, then you had the voices of Fatso or Stinky Joe Askaliki, who you know from. Let's look at his filmography. He was in Spaced Invaders. Uh, he did the voice of Daffy Duck and Tweety. Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. Rugrats Go Wild. He played the voice. He played the voice of Grandpa Lou Pickles,
Okay.
and he's done Tom in episodes of Tom and Jerry. He's done work in the Little Mermaid television series and the television series Duckman as well. So he's done a lot of voice work for Disney and Nickelodeon as well. But that's I guess.
Alert from calendar. Number 3G.
So that's pretty much and then you had um, a Amy Bradman plays Amelia Harvey, Bill Pullman's ex-wife or deceased wife. She was in episodes of NYPD Blue and the critically acclaimed drama Heat. So I guess that's kind of the main cast. So, Jay, before we start, what was your we from I was this is 95,
Uh-huh.
so I was probably about 7 when
Right.
this film came out, and you were probably 5.
5. Yeah.
Do you remember seeing this, or was this more of a direct to video?
I guess I don't remember seeing it in theaters, but I
Yeah,
definitely saw it growing up sometime.
sometime. I think, yeah, and so this was, and I kind of felt like this film was one of those films where it's it's got uh I knew a little bit about Casper, the friendly ghost,
Right.
kind
The
of
cartoons.
cartoons
Yeah.
and stuff. This film basically Bill so you had Catherine Moriarty um basically is inheriting a this house
Right.
from her deceased father,
Uh,
and her let's say business partner or henchman
right.
um is pretty much like talking about how they need to sign the lease,
Right.
and
Yeah, and they try to burn the deed.
they burn the deed, and they find out that there's like a
Secret message.
secret message on there. I love the fact that Ben Stein's in there, and he's like kind of going like because he was kind of big. He did the
Bueller.
Bueller. He was in Bueller, and he was also in The Mask.
Right.
And I think The Mask came out in 94 and this came out in 95. So this kind of worked pretty well, for him. So they kind of burn a letter, and there's basically a treasure map.
Right.
So she thinks that there's a treasure in the house that she's inherited. So she goes and she and Eric Idle, her business partner, go and check to see the house.
Okay.
So the spooky house. So they go in there and they find out that it's haunted by real actual 3 ghosts
Right.
who we meet. We don't really see, but we hear the voices of Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch.
Right.
And so she kind of freaks out and gets an exterminator. There's a really good I think an SNL priest that
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
SNL who's like kind of yeah, it's just gonna be kind of real um kind of New Yorker kind of thing.
Yeah. Sort of like over the top, laid back priest
Yeah, no
character.
pizza. He always like pizza cake, pizza cake. And then there is a
Ghostbuster.
Ghostbuster scene where Dan Aykroyd shows up and makes a cameo because there's like a lot of cameos in this movie.
Yeah,
I
a
realized
lot.
that. And Dan Aykroyd, and I was watching a review of it by the Nostalgia Critic, and he's like, "Who you gonna call?" And they laugh, and he says, "Someone else." And then the Nostalgia Critic says in the review, it says, "We were just waving the check in front of him as he's his residual check while he's," and I kind of like that kind of cameo of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So then, um, she's basically distraught and can't find somebody to take care of the
Ghost problem.
ghost problem until she's watching, and this is 90s for me, or she's watching television. Actually, Casper's watching
Yeah.
television, and he's flipping through channels, and I love when he's flipping through channels. There's like, all these like cartoons of like ghosts and stuff,
Right.
and then the hard copy shows up, which for all you, I kind of knew about it, but it was sort of that, like hard hitting journalism
Okay.
television show that was big in the 90s, and they talk about the dead people, or
Right.
like
Ghost
ghost
psychologist.
psychologist played by Bill Pullman, and he says you could call them the dead, you could call them I like to call them the living impaired. So Casper gets the idea to get uh Kerrigan
To hire them.
to hire them, and so she ends up calling him up, and um so we introduce, and they kind of basically exposition of Cat,
Right.
and as they're driving from like I guess New Mexico to Maine or wherever,
Right.
um, we kind of get the exposition that he's doing this. He's been kind of searching for spirits since his wife died. I mean, that's what they
Right.
kind of sell in the
In the
TV
interview.
interview.
Right.
But she kind of says, you're not. Kat says to her dad that you're not gonna find mom. She's not a ghost, dad, and that kind of
Right.
thing. Um, and then so they, so I like the fact that they go there, and you have Eric Idle, who I never really, when I saw this film the first time, when I had no idea who he was,
Right.
and then I've seen him now in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and I thought he's like, um, he, he shows up and he's like, I got you're just gonna spray and like it's a disinfectant,
Right.
or insectified, and I like how Moriarty or cat or
Was it Harrigan?
Harrigan, yeah,
Or
uh,
Harrigan? I can't.
Kerrigan, I think, yeah, Kerrigan. We go with Kerrigan. She basically, says, Dr. Harvey, it's so nice to meet you. And then they get really like creepily aggressive with Kat 'cause they grab her face and go, "You have a beautiful daughter, Mr. Harvey, Dr. Harvey." They're like, they look at her and she's like, "You're really hurting my face." Um, what? So then they end up kind of moving in and
Exploring the house.
exploring the house. Casper's in there. Casper's kind of like, he's kind of, I can tell that he has sort of like a school guy crush.
Yeah,
It's
on
kind of
Cat.
innocent, but not creepy. I mean, well, it's creepy, but it's when you put
He's the
when you think
friendly
about it,
ghost.
friendly ghost. So he's really, yeah, he's friendly with her. But so he kind of like
He's like nervous how to reveal
nervous how
himself.
to reveal himself,
Right.
and so I like the fact that he, like, when he first shows up, he's like, "There's a girl in my bed."
Right.
And then I like how he turns into like shapes into a pillow,
Uh-huh.
and she starts beating the pillow because it's so uncomfortable.
Right.
And then she kind of, or he she gets up, and he kind of reveals himself, and he says, "Hello," and she faints and passes, and then he kind of revives her,
Right. And then she screams.
and she screams, and then she gets um, and then she tells Bill Pullman
Right.
that she saw a ghost, and he goes up to her room. It's like there's no ghost here, and then I can kind of tell that he finally kind of meets his match when he meets Casper,
Right.
because he freaks out and he grabs Cat and he
Yeah. Sprints to the
sprints to
house
the house,
and locks her in a
locks
closet.
her in the closet. And then we had so there's a lot of interesting that he's adjusting, or not Cat, or Bill Pullman, or Dr. Harvey is adjusting to kind of having a ghost in the house. And I liked where they the next morning they show or she goes down to breakfast, and Casper has made breakfast for her.
Right.
And I like how it's, because there's a lot, there's that sort of, and I think it's sort of a motif now, or like a, where you kind of see how, like, the way breakfast is being made in movies, when, like Back to the Future
Right.
and Flubber, with the, when he has got everything automatic and
Right.
stuff like that. And what I love is, um, she comes down and he's like, I made you breakfast. And she's still a little bit kind of creeped out by it, but they slowly get into have that kind of have a conversation. Then there's that classic scene where she's like, "What are you made of? You know that thing you fell asleep to, or when your foot falls asleep? I think I'm made of that." And then she touches her hand, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then Dr. Harvey shows up, and he's still a little bit kind of freaked out a little
Right.
bit. Um, but then we get to see the uncles. Um, where we get to meet Fatso, Stinky,
And
and
stretch.
Stretch,
Yeah.
and they come out. And they go da 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 da, and I like how they're so abusive to Casper.
They
You wanna,
are.
you want, oh, no, they
Yeah.
are.
Sort of. Yeah. Treat him as like their servant and sort of
Yeah,
like force him to make their food.
he's like, how dare you serve these skin bags faster than us?
Right.
And then she's like, fine, oh fine, oh fine. So Casper makes them breakfast, and makes them breakfast. And I kind of like how they start eating breakfast, and we get to see them, like, the food
Just sort of
digest,
chew it up. Yeah.
chew it up, and then it just
Falls out.
on the floor, and then Casper's cleaning it up. And he's like, "We've got company," and he's like, "You don't clean the floor." And then he boots him, and then I love how Cat, because Cat's edgy. Cat kind of reminds me of she's in junior high, but that sort of '90s when kids rule kind of
Right.
vibe, because she sounds like, you should clean the floor. He's like, shut up, Bone. And then Stretch says, shut up, Bone Bag. And she says, piss off. And she says, she says, piss off. And then
She goes off to her first day of school.
first day of school. And when she's there, she kind of goes into her um, first class, and it's the new kid kind of thing.
Right.
And um,
They all get surprised when they learn she's at the old
yeah, she's
haunted
like,
house.
and they're like, that house has been haunted, and you kind of get kind of get that sense that that house, nobody's been living there for
Right.
years.
And that they're gonna throw their Halloween party there.
Yeah, and I like, but then there's this mean snooty girl
Right.
name, and I can't, what's her name?
I don't know.
Snooty girl, we're gonna call, and she's like, my parents have a beach house, or was it
A new boathouse.
a new boathouse?
Right.
We should have the party there. And then and I like how they sort of like are all the classmates are all interested in her house, her beach house, boat house. And when Kat says, "Yeah, I'm at the," was it what was the manor? Was it something manor?
Something was like a W staff. I can't remember
Or,
what
yeah,
it's called.
Windstaff or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Like Windstaff, everyone's like, "You're at the murder house or the haunted house?"
Right.
And she basically says, "We can have a party there." And then the teacher says, "Okay, for all the
Well, they hold a vote.
they held a vote, right?" And you kind of go like, when you need parents' permission to, the logic comes in, but then you go, it's just a movie, just relax.
Right.
So, what was your thoughts on so anyway, so they get Casper, so meanwhile Casper is sort of, trying to understand Cat, and Dr. Harvey is trying to interview, kind of understand the ghosts,
Right.
but they're too busy trying to give him a hard time.
Right.
Like we get to see where they, I think the first introduction to them while they, for terrifying them basically.
Right.
Um, they all dive. They all die. Sneaky, Fatso, and Stretch all dive into his
Mouth.
mouth, and he go and he and we get to see cameos, and I love the
Right.
fact that we see cameo one is Clint
Clint Eastwood.
Eastwood
Yeah.
who shows up. And I think I saw a reviewer do it. He's like, he imitated Clint Eastwood, like, here, I did a kids movie, you happy, and then they had Rodney Dangerfield,
Right.
and then Mel Gibson, and then the Crypt Keeper, who I kind of remember. Did you ever watch Tales from the Crypt? Is that
Every now and then, yeah.
you kind of is it? I don't know. And then so I like that they did that, and then so Bill or Dr. Harvey. It's more of I've kind of noticed that this film is more. You have kind of Cat, and you kind of got three storylines
Uh,
going on in this. You've got Bill Pullman, or you got Cat and
Casper.
Casper's friendship.
Right.
You've got Bill Pullman
And the
and
three.
or Dr. Harvey and three ghosts trying to understand them. Then
Right.
you have the villainess
Trying to get the treasure.
trying to get the treasure. And so I guess what I kind of like with I guess uh in this film we kind of go back and forth between
Right. The different
the
storylines.
different storylines. So Casper is kind of hanging out with Kat and asks her, how did you? She kind of asked him how he died,
Right.
and he says he got basically pneumonia or something.
Yeah. It's like eventually, like first he doesn't remember, but then they find some of his old stuff.
Stuff.
And he starts to remember, like he died from getting sick from out going sledding.
Going sledding for too long,
Yeah.
right? And then her dad, basically, his dad says, "Oh, I'm gonna create resurrection,"
Right.
and she calls it the Lazarus. It's not the Lazarus pit. That's
From Batman. It's just
Batman,
the Lazarus.
the Lazarus, and there's like this chemical that brings ghosts back to life.
Yeah.
And so basically, Kat and Casper get into
The secret lab.
the secret lab, and there. I mean, the contraptions are cool
Right.
because she gets into a seat, he pulls a lever, and first it's shaving cream, and then like uh not a switchblade,
The straight razor.
straight razors, and like then the combs, and there's a whole like thing, and
Seems
then
like a car wash.
but yeah, it's basically, yeah, like a car wash. And then Casper, uh and so she shows him that Casper goes in for it,
Right.
and there's like this red chemical magic
Right.
potion that makes that brings ghosts back to life.
Right.
So there's a lot of thing, kind of there. So basically, Casper goes into the uh,
Chamber.
chamber, and he wants to be human, but ends up Moriarty steals the potion, or Eric Idle steals the potion,
Right.
and he turns into an egg or goo or something.
Right.
And so then, uh, so that's their kind of relationship. Then we have sort of uh, Bill Paul or
James.
James and Harvey and the Ghost,
Right.
and we kind of see that they end up sort of
Becoming friends.
becoming friends, uh, and I like how that kind or their friendship works, or not how they become friends and how they are, how she's sitting there and they're like late to get, they shrink, who shrinks who, you know,
Oh, right. Yeah.
you know what
'Cause
I
they're
mean?
still like messing with him. Yeah. At that point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like he says, uh, he kind of talks about his dead wife, and they go, where Jessica or what's his wife's name?
I can't remember his wife's name.
Yeah, so he goes and finds her, but then Fatso goes out looking for her, and then comes back, and you think it's her, but it's really Fatso.
Right.
Um, I guess, and then uh, Casper turn.
Yes.
Okay, so we can tell that the ghosts, the Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch realize that Bill Pullman is feeling kind of depressed. So they go to a bar
Right.
and they are kind of hanging out, and they get Dr. Harvey drunk
Right.
and they end up basically throwing him off a cliff.
Well, no. At first they're thinking,
Uh,
"Oh, we're gonna kill him, so it'll be
yeah,
friends."
and
But
Friends
then they
Forever
change their minds.
when
Because he says like says, "Oh, he generally
he like puts his
loves
arm around
those."
him and stuff like that, loves him.
And so they decide not to kill him, but then he like walks out of the bar and falls into like a manhole cover that's a construction.
Construction cover. That's right. That's right. And I like that. I like their kind of relationship. That really, made them not seem. I know they're sort of side characters, Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky.
Right.
From like
They went from like just being evil to like maybe there's more going on.
more going on,
Right.
and so then Casper tells the story of how he died.
Yeah, I think he
Is
did
that
that.
where we're?
Well, that was before they went to the laboratory.
So then we go back to the house or the mansion. Casper's gonna say, "I'm gonna turn back into I'll be a real boy,"
Right.
and so he goes into the Lazarus machine, and as he is getting the Lazarus machine working, Kerrigan, or actually Eric Idle, steals the potion, the
Juice. Yeah.
juice, and then
They get the idea that
if
like
the and then Kerrigan and Eric Idle get this idea that says if we
if one of us is a
ghost,
ghost,
then we can get into the
vault.
vault. And Kerrigan and Eric Idle think that there's like a massive treasure.
Right.
Little do they know it's something more. Anyway, so they go and so instead of becoming ghosts through the magic of the Lazarus machine, Kerrigan is thrown off.
Yeah, they just start trying to kill each other.
They start trying to kill each other, and they kill each other in a couple ways. Kerrigan tries to run over.
Well, first he just grabs an axe,
Oh yeah, yeah. Or Kerrigan grabs an axe and tries to kill Eric Idle
and then he like greases up the floor
and greases
and
up the
causes her
floor
to fall out the
and
window.
causes her to fall out the window. And then he is he's getting ready to
Get run over.
get run over, and she falls out and becomes like this giant. I love how like we don't even the reveal of her is just big shadow,
Right.
and she says the bitch is back, and I was so surprised by how dirty, like dirty, not dirty, but like for a, you know, PG meant something in
Um,
this movie, you know, like they used the word bitch in this one for a PG kids movie, so it's
it's
kind
the
of edgy.
90s.
It was the '90s. It was edgy. It was extreme. Um, um. So Jay. So anyway, so she comes back. Meanwhile, Harvey or Kat and Casper are getting ready for the party. Or
Right. Or they're still at the machine when they sort of come back.
machine come back, and they kind of have this, you know, Casper and Kerrigan, as Kerrigan is a ghost now,
Right.
basically takes Casper's goes into Casper's vault and takes the treasure box,
Right.
and thinking that it's full of gold and doubloons.
Right.
And she's like, "My treasure!" He's like, "It's not my treasure now." And Casper says, and then Casper kind of tricks her by saying, you
You
know,
don't have any more unfinished
you don't
business.
have unfinished business. She says, well, she's like, I have my treasure. I have my mansion. I am done. And then light comes, like God said, light comes in and destroy, like basically obliviates her.
Right.
Um, but so then, what's the treasure? What's in the secret? The treasure is
The
a
baseball.
baseball and a mitt, and it's signed by some guy from the Brooklyn Dodgers,
Right.
and which was his like treasure, and I can understand that in some ways. And she's like, Cass, and then I love the fact that Cat is like, a ball and a baseball, that's your treasure. And then he's like, it's autographed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. It's probably worth a lot of money these days or something, you know. And so then she's like, Casper, put this away. Meanwhile, Bill Pullman, aka Dr. Harvey, after
But
getting
yeah.
drunk,
Yeah.
he got pushed, he got killed, turned into a ghost, and
Right.
comes back. And there's this really good moment where Casper or Bill Pullman is kind of, or yeah, Dr. Harvey basically says, I am, you know, I'm really loving, you know, he kind of feel, and I think in a way, Dr. Harvey feels like, I think hanging out with his youth again or something that has been missing. You know, I think they bring, or anyway, I'll get into it
Yeah.
after. But he shows back up and says, you know, I've been a ghost. It's um and Kat's kind of like, Dad, you're dead. I need you. You know, you need to be part of my life now. You know, still be part of my life.
Uh,
And so Casper
sacrifice.
sacrifices himself, or sacrifices the last juice of the Lazarus
Right.
to become, um, to have um, Bill Pullman come back to being human again.
Right.
And then Casper's all lonely. And then he, all of a sudden, there's a giant light. And next to the giant light, a woman, and I love, like, the spirit of Casper, not Casper's mom, of Cat's mom comes
Right.
back in red, hellish colors, which I kind of, you know, red colors,
Uh,
says, you know, Casper, you know, you were so great. You know, you watched over Cat for me.
um,
So I am going to give you the chance to be human. It's kind of the Pinocchio.
right.
That's kind of thing. It's kind of the Pinocchio thing where she says, "I'm gonna let you be human for one night." You get kind of a Cinderella moment,
Right.
and then he turns into a guy who was Devon Shaw. This was, I think, his first. He was in the Final Destination movies,
Okay.
the first one, I think. But he turns into a human, and they have this like '90s smooth music, and he shows up, and Cat's walking around, and they end up dancing. And as they're dancing, it's this kind of moment, and they float. They float,
Right.
and as they're floating, the clock strikes midnight, and Casper turns into back into a ghost. And
Right.
this freaks out everybody. He just
At the
turns
Halloween
around
party.
at the
Right.
Halloween party, and he turns around and says "boo." And then I like the ending where they all run off, and she's like, "It's not bad for my first Halloween party." And then Bill Pullman shows up, and says, "It's not over yet, boys," or "Not over yet, boys." And then they play Casper the Friendly Ghost,
Right.
and the movie ends. Um, so there's a lot. I think this movie has a lot of meat for being only 30 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes long.
Right.
You know, what was your take on it now versus when you saw it again? Saw it
I guess it was a lot better than I thought it'd be. Sort of,
really?
well, just sort of, a lot of movies you see as a kid, you think,
They're
maybe I
great.
picked them as a kid, but they're going to be terrible watching them again. I guess this one was better than I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah, and I liked what I liked about it is I liked the fact that I liked the fact that it wasn't this, it worked. It kind of felt like I said, it's almost like a triangle. You had the Eric Idle thing and them wanting the treasure. You had Cat and um, Casper,
Right.
kind of that. Those are the two relationships, I guess, in the movie. I liked the fact. I liked how Stretch and Stinky were the comic relief characters in this. They were the comic relief characters in this movie. I liked how I liked and they had a really I liked how that moment when Casper is talking about how he died, and it really was kind of heart turning a little bit, at
Right.
least for of watching it at like a young age. And I really liked um Cas I liked the um the relationship between I think Har- Harvey, not or Dr. Harvey
Right.
needs I think really needed um Fats, the three uncles.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of his therapy in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That makes sense.
you know. Jay, what was your kind of like take on like what was your like? Did you feel like this film? I think this film really works, as a kids movie, but it's also has a lot more. Um, it works as a kids movie, but it also works as it's something that I'd probably, it works as it's kind of nostalgia wise. It's really where I like it because it's kind of cute, and it'd be a movie that I'd probably say my mom would say was cute.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked how Casper, kind of works. This film did two sequels. Did we talk about the sequels?
No, I haven't talked about the sequel.
So there weren't really two sequels. It was um I guess we'll go with the sequels. There was Casper: A Spirit's Beginning, which was sort of Casper. It was like a direct to DVD or direct to made for TV movie
Okay.
where Casper was sort of like this is like his first adventure, and it came out like in '97, where which was sort of like him meeting the goat. From what I remember, it was like a boy instead. It's sort of a boy meeting a ghost, meeting Casper,
Oh, okay,
and
gotcha.
then like, or he meets the brother and like
Trying to be friends with
be
the.
friends with the
Okay.
boy and that kind of thing, and something with the brothers. I can't remember that much about it. If I can find it, we'll probably review it. And then there was a third film called Casper Meets Wendy with a young Hilary Duff.
Okay.
And the woman that played Moriarty, the evil one, was um, the aunt of Hilary Duff, Wendy, the
Okay.
witch. So it's kind of brings it back. But I feel like this one's probably the more superior one.
Right.
And then this film also had an animated show that came out in the 90s, right around the same time on the Fox network, which I think was more of like the living life of Pat and her basically living in the mansion with the ghost and their adventures
Right.
kind of thing. But I actually like this one. I think it works. It's a great kids Halloween film. I think it's sometimes it does have I think I'm not going to say it's perfect at all.
Right.
I think that it's taking out the nostalgia glasses, taking off the nostalgia glasses, I would say that the problem with this film would be that it wasn't as it was too there was a couple, some of the stuff was a little bit kind of out, but looking at it with the nostalgia glasses, I think it works great as a kids film. I th- I think the relationship between it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun movie, but it's not as like, I think it works great. I like the mansion,
Yeah. The set of the mansion was very.
very
Yeah.
very cool, and like especially having the house or the house having the party. I always thought the party. I do have to be honest with you. When they all came for the Halloween party, I thought it was a lot bigger
Okay.
when I was a kid. When I was watching the
Gotcha.
first time,
Gotcha.
um, and I kind of liked the. I mean, it's a family friendly movie. Like I would probably put this on if you were to do like a Halloween, or I guess we'll give a rating first, and then we'll.
Okay.
Uh, from let's do the rating A to B, A to F. What
Okay.
letter grading? What would you give it? Jay, I'll let you go
Uh,
first.
maybe B minus to C plus maybe.
B minus. I'll
Low
give it a B.
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 Okay.
Just it's not bad. I would give it probably like my 1 to 100 scale. It's I think it would be nostalgia glasses and being a kid. I'd give it probably a 70,
Gotcha.
but a probably 50 as
Without.
a kid, as
Gotcha.
now.
Right.
But I mean, I think it kind of works. It's a fun family
Right.
film. I mean, I think they're all game. It's something that I would probably put this on. Like I would see this as as a kids double feature with maybe do the Casper trilogy
Okay.
series films or Casper with some maybe like it'd be interesting to do a Casper Ghostbusters. Maybe like something like a Casper's at like 7 a.m. 7 o'clock showing. It's Casper,
Uh,
and then what? That was like an hour and 20 minutes
yeah.
long.
Closer to 2 hours. Understand.
It was about close, about let's say hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then Ghostbusters would be like this would be like the 7 o'clock showing, and Ghostbusters would be the 9 o'clock showing.
Right.
And so I would probably say that it's a good kids film. I'd put it on. I think it works as a great like Halloween film. Um, from what I think it works. It was fun. I kind of really interested in sort of what the I think it's a nice family. Not, it's a nice kids Halloween movie.
Right. I agree.
So that's kind of our look at Casper. let us know what your thoughts are on this movie. Did you like it? Does it live up to what it is now? Have you seen it in a while and kind of said it's fine, it's all right, or not? Let us know. As always, keep the comments, as friendly ghost as possible. Um, and I guess this is our Halloween episode. Um, if you like what you see, uh, please like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Steve, and with me is
Jay.
and happy Halloween. Peace.